All right, let's get right into it. When we talk about AI and jobs, this isn't some science fiction movie set in the future. This is happening right now, today. AI is actively restructuring our entire workforce, and we're going to break down exactly what that looks like.
And look, this change is coming from the very top. When someone like Jack Dorsey, the CEO of a huge company like Block, says something this direct, you know it's not just a minor tweak. He's saying the fundamental rules of business have been rewritten.
And those weren't just words. They were immediately followed by this number, 4,000. That's how many people lost their jobs at Block, in a move the company directly linked to new efficiencies they found using AI.
And Block is not alone, not by a long shot. This is happening everywhere. You've got UPS and logistics, Accenture and consulting, Amazon and, well, everything. And that Klarna example is just wild. One single AI is now doing the work of 700 customer service agents. This isn't a tech story, it's an everything story.
So we see all these headlines, right? But what's the big picture really look like when you crunch the numbers? Well, this is where things get really interesting, because what companies are saying publicly, it doesn't quite line up with the reality on the ground.
Let's just start with this number. It's a huge one. Over 1.2 million jobs were cut in the US in just 1 year. That's the highest level of layoffs we've seen since the crazy days of 2020. So something is clearly going on. The big question is, what is it?
Well, here's the official story. According to what companies are telling us, AI is way down the list of reasons for layoffs. It's only responsible for this tiny little slice of the pie, just 4.5%. If you only saw this chart, you'd think the whole AI job threat was totally overblown.
But, and this is the most important part, here's the hidden reality. While only 4.5% of companies blame AI, almost 60% of hiring managers, 6 out of 10, admit they're using other reasons, like restructuring as a cover for layoffs that are actually driven by AI. So the real impact could be more than 10 times bigger than what's being reported.
So let's move away from the big, abstract numbers and talk about the people on the front lines. Because this isn't just an economic trend, right? It's about real people in specific jobs who are feeling this pressure every single day.
And you can see right here where that pressure is most intense. Any job that involves repetitive, predictable tasks is in the crosshairs. Look at data entry, a 95% automation risk. That means almost the entire job can just be done by a machine. And we're talking about millions and millions of jobs at risk in the very near future.
And you know what this does? It creates a massive problem for young people just starting out. All those routine tasks that used to make up entry-level jobs, they're the first to be automated. So the first rung on the career ladder is literally disappearing. Postings for those jobs have plummeted by over a third.
And this shift isn't impacting everyone equally. Not at all. The data reveals a pretty shocking gender gap. Nearly 80% of working women are in jobs that are considered high risk for automation, compared to 58% of men. Why? Because many of those high-risk roles, administrative work, clerical jobs, have historically been filled by women.
Okay, so why is all of this happening so quickly? What's the driving force? Well, it boils down to a new kind of technology and some very, very simple and kind of harsh business math.
The real game changer here is something called an AI agent. And it's so important to understand this isn't just a chatbot. An AI agent can manage an entire process, a whole workflow from start to finish. It's not just answering one question. It's running the entire customer support department by itself. And if you want to see just how powerful these agents are, just look back at Klarna. Think about this. Their one AI assistant handled 2.3 million conversations in 1 month. That is the exact same amount of work as 700 full-time employees. One system.
Which brings us to the cold, hard logic of it all. A company puts in one AI system. It does the work of dozens of people, nonstop, for a tiny fraction of the cost. And because that one system can replace an entire team at once, the layoffs aren't a slow trickle. It happens suddenly. A whole department can be gone just overnight.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? It's not about slowly phasing people out. The technology allows for immediate, one-for-one replacement, but at a massive scale. One agent handles 20 calls, and just like that, 20 jobs can disappear.
Now, I know everything we've talked about sounds pretty grim, and it's easy to think we're just headed for a total jobs apocalypse. But the data actually suggests something different is happening. It's less of a collapse and more of a great reshuffling, a total restructuring of the market.
And this research really shows why. Yeah, about 18% of jobs are at high risk of just going away. But look at the rest of the chart.
Over a third of jobs are expected to either reorganize around AI or actually grow with AI. The biggest story isn't just job loss, it's job transformation.
And get this, if you zoom out and look at the whole world, the World Economic Forum actually predicts a net gain of 78 million jobs by 2030. So even though millions of jobs are being eliminated, millions more new ones are being created. The challenge, of course, is that these new jobs are completely different.
And you can see that difference so clearly here. The jobs that are shrinking are all about routine, predictable work. The jobs that are growing, they all require specialized, complex skills, working with AI itself, cybersecurity, or doing things that require a human touch, like healthcare.
So what does all this mean for you personally? The data couldn't be clearer. There is now a huge premium on adapting. If you have real AI skills, you can earn 25% more than your peers. But it's not just about tech. Companies are desperate for those durable, human skills. Creativity, resilience, leadership, all the things an AI can't do.
And that really brings us to the final question, the one you have to ask yourself. This isn't theoretical anymore. Look at what you do every day. Which parts of your job rely on pure human judgment, or creativity, or empathy? Because in this new world, that's it. That is where your real, lasting value is going to be.